Have you ever heard something that sounded a little too woo-woo, but a part of you was still a little curious? That was the first time I heard about energy centers. So in today's episode, I want to share what I've learned through experience and not theory. We'll explore the 7 main energy centers, how they show up when you're out of balance, how anxiety ties to each one, and what it looks like to live in alignment. Not perfection, but harmony. But before we get into that, I want you to know that this is from my own personal experience. Before I ever went to massage school, I stumbled across books that talked about these spinning wheels of energy. Invisible, but somehow influencing our emotions, health, and even our life path. And honestly, I was so skeptical. I remember thinking, yeah, okay, sure, but how could that possibly be real? It reminded me of acupuncture. I believed it, but not completely. Not until I had my first acupuncture session, and when she put a needle in one space and I felt it go up the meridian channel, and I was like, oh, it is real. I wanted to understand it, but my logical mind just couldn't grasp how invisible energy could shape my very own real emotions. So during massage school, I went to Reiki and I learned Reiki. And after massage school and just my life gave me more proof. Old family patterns started surfacing, deep-rooted stuff I had never faced. And as I worked through it, I could feel things shifting inside my body. Vibrations, warmth, tension releasing. That's when I knew this wasn't imaginary. Energy was real. I just hadn't learned how to listen to it before. And then nowadays, it's, people believe in Wi-Fi and things transmitting through the air, but they don't realize energy. I love that saying. Or meme, or whatever you want to call it. But to go back to my story, over the years, that curiosity kept growing. A few years ago, I learned about human design, and that added a whole nother layer. It almost like was the missing piece. I discovered that I am a 2/4 manifesting generator with emotional authority and a divine sacral center. That means I am built to move quickly, to create and respond when something lights me up, but my emotions need time to catch up before I act. That's the hard part. So for most of my life, I was caught between 2 speeds. My manifesting generator energy saying go, and my emotional wave saying wait. It was and is still now sometimes a tug of war, where my anxiety used to live. And it still does. It still comes up here and there. Not as bad. I've always wanted to feel more connected, but my mind was so busy. And I've learned, maybe the hard way, that the busier mind, the louder the body has to speak. And it speaks through energy. And I add a busy mind. I was diagnosed actually twice in my life with ADD. I don't like to really solidify in that now. I try not to label things. It's nice to kind of have a label or a diagnosis to work around some things, but I don't go around, oh, I have this, I have this, I have this. And maybe this is for another episode of, when you start labeling yourself and you start telling yourself what it is. And that's a whole nother thing. But to move on and not get sidetracked. So once you actually feel these centers moving, you won't doubt them again. So energy centers are the body's communication system, the bridge between your physical body, your emotions, and your spirit, your soul. They are not abstract. They exist right where your body already concentrates energy, at major nerve plexus and granular points along your spine. In massage, I'd feel it constantly. The moment someone let go emotionally, the muscles beneath my hands would soften. Their breath would deepen. That was energy moving. I didn't need to see it to know it was real. when the centers flow, we feel grounded, creative, and connected. When they're blocked, we're overloaded, we feel anxious, disconnected, or stuck in loops of emotion. They are the translators between our inner world and our outer experience. So going through all 7, and as I walk you through these, notice which one feels familiar to you. Your body will tell you exactly where your energy is asking to be seen. So there's the root center. We start from the base and work our way up. And so root center is safety and belonging. So my relationship with the root has been a big one. Growing up, I always had deep family ties, but also deep-rooted family wounds, old dynamics that made me question stability and belonging. Even after opening my wellness center, I'd still have those anxious moments of wondering, is it all going to fall apart? That's the root center in fear, the part of us that needs safety and security. As a manifesting generator, I tend to move quickly, sometimes faster than my spirit can keep up with. When that happens, my root will literally put all the brakes on. It will show up as fatigue, heaviness, or even overwhelm. My body's way of grounding me. Now, when I feel that, I have learned that I don't push harder. I slow down. I step outside barefoot, breathe into my belly, and remind myself I am safe, I am supported, and I am here. That's my medicine. So ask yourself here, where do you crave more safety in your life? And what helps you remember you're already grounded, right here where you are? The second is the sacral center, creativity, flow, and pleasure. My sacral is defined. It's my internal GPS. It knows instantly what's right for me through my gut feeling of yes or no. But for years, I ignored it. I said yes to everything. Clients, collaborations, invitations, until my body finally said no more. Remember in my story in the first episode, if you haven't listened to that yet, I got a superficial blood clot and throughout my lower back to the point I had full body spasms. And I don't mean just my whole back. I mean it went all the way down to my toes and all the way to my fingers. Everything, even my head. Like, it was a full body. My nephew, he was just born, and I couldn't hold him. I couldn't hold him because if I turned even a smidgen, my arms flung back and my legs straightened, that it would have dropped him. That's where anxiety lived for me, in the tension between what lit me up and what drained me. As a manifesting generator, my sacral energy is powerful, but it needs passion. When I'm doing something that lights me up, I could go on for hours, like recording these. When I'm doing something that doesn't, I feel frustrated, exhausted within minutes. QuickBooks. I cannot do it. It does not light me up. Now I listen to that response. I let myself move, dance, stretch, float in water, and reconnect to what feels joyful in life. That is how I reset. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to play, to create for the sake of feeling alive again? Moving on to number 3, the solar plexus. This is your confidence, emotion, and power. This is where my emotional authority, the home of my wave, it is where I feel the most joy, fear, excitement, and doubt. And for a long time, I tried to make decisions from my head, rushing for clarity, but emotions did not work that way. As an emotional manifesting generator, my clarity comes after the wave, not during it. If I make a choice while I'm riding that high or the low, it usually backfires. But if I wait, breathe, let that wave settle, I always know what to do. And, maybe that is taking a breather, maybe it's stepping back, maybe it's sleeping on it, maybe it's waiting for a couple days. It's also making sure that my energy is my energy and it's not someone else's. Because when we are in close range of other people, we can take on other people's energy and emotions. So it's making sure that it's mine. So anxiety here often feels like tightness in the stomach or chest, like the air has gone out of your power center. When that happens, I use breath work. For example, the 4-7-8. The inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8 brings you back to your core, brings you back to your center. So the lesson here is patience. Let the wave move. Don't force yourself to feel better. Ride it out until it softens. That's where the truth lives. For the heart center, love, connection, and courage. The heart is a bridge between the lower and the higher centers, between the human and the divine. And for me, as a 2-4, it's also the bridge between solitude and community. I've always needed time alone to recharge. But when life got overwhelming, I'd retreat too far, close off my heart, build walls. That's where my anxiety would grow the loudest. When I finally allowed myself to reopen through sound, compassion, and connection, my heart began to heal. Now, before every session or sound bath, I will place my hand on my chest, breathing gratitude. Sometimes I tone a soft ah. It vibrates through my ribs and reminds me I'm safe to love again. If you're listening, maybe take this moment now. Place your hand on your heart. Breathe and whisper, I am safe to love and be loved. Number 5, the throat center. This is truth and expression. The throat has always been my tricky one. As a manifesting generator, I bring things into form through my voice. I literally manifest through speaking. But for years, I held back. I still hold back to this day. I do say more now than ever, but I do hold some things back. I was afraid my emotions would spill out, either wrong or that people wouldn't understand me. And sometimes it still happens, but I know it's not me. But before workshops or sound baths, my throat would tighten. And it would tighten so much that my eardrums, I would hear myself echo through my own ears. And it was the worst thing ever. Like if you try and hear or talk to someone, you hear your echo back, that's what it was. I heard myself echo back through my ears. It was like they were filled up. That was anxiety saying, you're holding your truth. When I finally started speaking from authenticity, not perfection, my energy shifted. I learned to wait until I'm emotionally clear and then speak. When I do that, my words carry resonance instead of reaction, just like talking through these. If you've been holding back your voice, hum, sing in the car, journal what you wish you could say. Sound moves energy better than silence could ever. Number 6 is the third eye, your intuition and inner vision. This one has been my teacher in trust. I used to confuse anxiety with intuition. My mind would spin with stories and call it inner guidance. But true intuition feels calm, clear, and quiet. It never rushes. When I'm in my emotional wave, I do not act on what I see yet. I wait until my emotions settle, and then the intuition message is always clear. That's how I know it's truth and not fear. Sometimes I close my eyes, I touch the space between my brows, and I breathe into it, imagining the sky clearing after a storm. That's usually when the insight lands. 7 is your crown. The connection, trust, and divine flow. The crown connects us to something bigger. For me, it's a reminder that I don't have to do everything alone or control every detail. When I forget that, anxiety rushes in. It's the pressure to figure it all out. As a manifesting generator, I can generate a lot of momentum. But sometimes my crown steps in as a reminder to me to surrender, to trust the timing, to remember that divine flow is faster than my mind could ever plan. So I sit, close my eyes, and imagine light pouring in through the top of my head, like a golden sunlight washing through my whole body. And that will bring peace, almost instantly. For most of my life, I thought something was wrong with me. That I was inconsistent, scattered, emotional, anxious, ADD, whatever you want to call it. But I've learned is that I simply was just out of sync with how my energy was and designed to move. As a manifesting generator, I am meant to pivot, respond, create, and evolve. My anxiety came from trying to be linear in a world that rewards straight lines. But my energy doesn't move in a straight line. It dances, it spirals, it experiments. Every time I've tried to slow it down or fit it in a box, my body pushes back. Every knot in my stomach, every tight chest, every sleepless night, those were my energy centers trying to speak to me. Now, when anxiety shows up, I pause and ask, which center is calling for attention? Is it my sacral saying no when I've said yes? My solar plexus needing rest? My throat wanting to speak truth? Anxiety isn't a flaw, it's a feedback. It's your body's way of guiding you back home. The real transformation happens when we stop fighting it and start listening. That is how we move from anxious to aligned. So maybe you started with this episode skeptical, just like I once was. And that's okay. Curiosity is a door. Because once you feel energy moving through your body, once you sense that living intelligence flowing inside of you, everything changes. You begin to trust yourself again. You start making choices from resonance instead of fear. Remember, your emotions aren't the problem. They're your guidance. Your sacral knows what's true. Your heart bridges it all. And your energy will always bring you home if you listen. If this conversation resonated, I'd love for you to download my new meditation series, The Soul Spectrum, A Journey Through the Energy Centers, where we go deeper into activating and clearing these centers using sound, breath, and meditation. You'll experience what it feels like to truly tune in to the instrument of your soul. Until next time, take a deep breath. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, I am listening. Because every time you listen, you're not just calming anxiety, you're remembering who you really are. An energetic being, divinely guided, perfectly designed. If this episode touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs a reminder that their energy and their emotions and they're sacred.